Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Awesome 80s Podcast. This is Michael.
This is Lawrence. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Glenn. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
How's life doing?
Life is all right. It was unseasonably warm today. Got a lot of stuff done outside.
That's fantastic.
The pull cord on the push mower broke again, and I was pissed.
Yeah, that's great. A lot of people died today, just in life. Shootings.
Again?
Your pull cord.
Again? I don't even have TV, Glenn. I don't even look at the internet. I'm sorry.
All right. How's it going?
Good. Did you have a good day? You got awesome seasonal facial hair, Glenn.
I don't think because I can grow facial hair and you can't, that makes it seasonal. I mean, I don't. You have awesome, always bare face.
One time you had pretty awesome Hollywood Hulk Hogan facial hair, Glenn.
We gotta go there.
Okay.
I mean, it's fine. See, I understand you're backed into a corner. You want to lash out at someone's lowest point in their life. That's fine. I got kicked out of my studio.
So where are we at tonight? What studio are we in now?
Studio NJ.
NJ?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Studio MH is having a date, so he's probably trying to finger bang someone to Star Wars right now.
He's a pretty big fan. I didn't think he'd be a fan, but we found something to bond over, so that's good.
Why? Because he's athletic? You don't think athletic people can like Star Wars?
I'm just saying.
I'm just asking you a question.
I'm just saying. Whatever.
So the last time we did a movie from this series was about 6 years ago.
I think it was season 1?
Season 2, I think.
All right.
We quit the podcast after that night. It was the only time in almost 8 years. We're coming up on 8 years of doing this show. It's the only time we've ever quit.
Like, we've taken breaks and stuff because of school and family and everything and just people moving and what have you.
All you.
All you. I want you to say that on the podcast. Say, Michael, say it was your fault.
Well, I also didn't quit the podcast.
Yeah,
I did not quit.
There was an entire cooler of the Silver Bullet brought to you by the good people at Coors, Rocky Mountain High.
It's a non-union beer. You're going to promote a non-union beer?
And then I think I had a bunch of that, and then Dre, the host of the Old School Wrestling Podcast, he had some, and then I think you were drinking a Skull, the Dan Aykroyd Skull, maybe.
Oh, I do like that.
Yeah. Is that a vodka? Is that what that is?
It's a vodka.
Yeah. So a lot of liqueur and hurtful things were said both directions, and then we just quit. I'm quitting. I quit, Glenn. I quit podcast. I quit your friendship. You're beyond friend vacation. I'm done.
It would be one thing if you would have quit that night. I would have understood it was a drunken thing. It was when you no-showed WrestleMania the following day and then sent me a text telling me that you were quitting.
No, I called you, and then then you texted me after that, and I was like, yeah, dude. What I said in the mail when I talked to you on the phone, yes.
All right. And then we had to make up at some shitty ISU sandwich shop.
We was at a hot dog place, and it was like.
Oh, we were at the hot dog place.
It was very much like a romantic comedy, like it said some things, and then you were confused, and I was confused, and we didn't communicate properly. Here, take a bite out of my hot dog. I want to see you eat it.
That's exactly what I remember.
That is exactly what happened. So
we have a guest tonight watching this hot homoerotic man-on-man action. We like to homoerotic it up right before we talk about sweaty men and dancing in their underwear. Usually that's when we're going to talk about wrestling, but a little different tonight. Michael, why don't you introduce our guest?
We're bringing in the resident. As far as I'm concerned, the resident expert on the Rocky films, Bob from the I Hate Critics podcast. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Bob.
Hey, thank you. I'm Bob from the I Hate Critics podcast at ihatecritics.net, and we're just a movie review podcast where we take a look at the new movies that come out every week, a classic, something from 1985, and we look at the new trailers every week.
How did I not wear my Ivan Dragoff shirt tonight? If he dies, He dies. I can't believe I didn't wear that.
So once the
The
new
wrong
year,
movie.
yeah, exactly.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Once
I mean,
it
I
was-
went with the Clever Lang hoodie, so.
Once the new year comes around, are you gonna do 1986 films then?
Yes, we do. We call it the 30-year reviews.
I think
Once they turn.
what's 86? Top Gun's 86, I think. Maybe Beverly Hills Cop 2. What else is 36? What else is 1986?
Ferris Bueller, I think.
Okay.
Yep,
86.
that's 86. Yep. No, Hills Cop 2 I think was 87.
Maybe you're right. All right. Well, I've listened to your podcast, and you've been nice enough to invite me on to talk about some stuff occasionally, and I do appreciate that.
Whoa. Another one?
I'm on a lot of podcasts, Glenn.
Yeah, you have to know these people have never heard our show because they know you're not the funny one. Anyone who's listened to our show knows you're not the one to invite on anything. You're just going to sit there. You're going to rush the plot 2 hours too early into the show.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to tell you the ending right now.
That's what you do every fucking episode.
No, I just want to get to the ending.
You got to stroke it. Continue.
Well, maybe when we start our podcast academy, we'll put that in the curriculum. But Bob, what is your favorite movie of all time?
Oh man, it's Rocky 1.
It feels like as though Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, there was significant effort made to make them actual cinema films.
When I hear someone say that Rocky 1 or 2 are their favorite movies, I'm talking to a person who has obviously never seen Rocky 5. Sue me for what? Sue me for what? You should watch it. It's really
He gives them the cufflinks. Don't you understand? He gives them the cufflink. Man.
Sage Stallone.
Did he end up passing?
Yeah, he passed. He passed.
But he also aged like 14 years between him getting back from Russia.
Well, there was an extended scene in Rocky 5 where Sylvester Stallone was taking a shower. God only knows how long that damn shower was.
Good point. But he
So,
didn't age.
so we came to the conclusion that Rocky 4 itself ended the Cold War for America. Sylvester Stallone ended it. Thank you very much.
Well, there was a 30 for 30 on
It
it.
brought down the Berlin Wall. Thank you so much.
Did you, Bob? Did you see the 30 for 30 on Rocky 4?
I did not. I didn't know there was one.
We'll have to. We'll send you over the. It's only a few minutes. It's a short, but it ended the Cold War.
So this isn't a real thing.
It's made with the real ESPN people, but I think Funny or Die put it out a couple months ago about how Rocky 4 ended the Cold War.
If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. Everybody should check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Where could they see that, Michael?
I did post it on our Facebook page, but
I posted it on Twitter before you posted it on Facebook. I'm just saying.
I put it on the Facebook page. It's probably on the YouTubes. Just look it up. 30 for 30 Rocky. Rocky 4.
So, Bob, I rudely interrupted you earlier. Why is Rocky 1 your favorite?
Well, I grew up watching Rocky 4 every day, over and over and over again. And then as I got older, I went back and watched the first one. And I was like, oh, this is a real movie. And just because of my bias towards Rocky 4 and Rocky 3, and I don't know, I just kind of hold it a little higher than I probably should. Although after going back and revisiting it a couple weeks ago, I stand by it. It's my favorite movie easily. It's just a classic.
I agree. Last night when we sat down to watch this, Rocky the Third, we have a co-host sometimes on our show. His name is Jake. He has been co-hosting since he was 8. He's now 13. And he's always asked, what movie are you watching tonight? And then sometimes I say, it doesn't matter, go to bed. Last night was early enough, I said Rocky 3. And he goes, oh, I love the Rocky movies. Now, my father sat me down at a very young age. As the time, some of these Rockies were just, I think Rocky 3 is the first one I remember watching, but then we went back and watched the other two. And he explained to me the facts of life through Rocky. Our listeners know famously that right after we watched Rocky 5, right when it came out, is when my father gave me the sex talk for the first time. So Rocky in my family holds a special place. My son, I've never shown him because he just didn't seem like this was his kind of movie yet. Like, I want to make him sure he appreciates it. So he then started telling me stuff that happened in all of the Rockies. And then I was like getting pissed because I'm like, Jake, you haven't seen Rocky. He goes, yeah, I've seen him. And I was like, whatever, he's 13. And then he starts like, he's like, is this the one where such happens? And I'm like, no, this isn't that one. When did you see that one? Then he's like, that doesn't look like his girlfriend from the first one. I'm like, that is his. Wait a minute. He goes, well, where's her glasses? And then I got pissed off because my son, because of Netflix, has seen all of the Rockies without me. And he's like, can't wait to go see Creed. I'm like, this is bullshit. I was robbed by Netflix of my chance to educate my son.
See, I have a 3-year-old, and I just started young, so we watched 3 and 4 together already.
It seems as though 3 and 4 are more action films, and they are more kid-oriented. Like, you could be a little kid and get into 3 and 4.
By the time Jake was 4, we had barely gotten through the Corey franchises. So, I mean, Rocky was far ahead of curriculum.
I think when I went through my crises and I brought a bunch of stuff over to your garage and then I gave you a bunch of DVDs, I think I did give you the Star Wars box set, though.
Yeah, no, he's seen that.
Okay.
He knows. He's smart enough to know that I won't watch that piece of crap. If we're going to talk series, it's Back to the Future and then Rocky. And then the Noah Baumbach dialogue movies of the 90s.
Not even Indiana Jones. I just remember, like...
I don't like that movie.
The first time I hung out with you in your garage, I know it was in your basement, we're playing darts, and you have, like, your parents also had, like, an air hockey. It's like a shuffleboard.
Yeah, shuffleboard and air hockey, yeah.
And we were talking about the best trilogies. I'm like, well, Star Wars is number 1. And I put Indiana Jones probably number 2, and then Back to the Future number 3. And you're like, what the hell are you even talking about? And he's like, Back to the Future, and then nothing. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
That was 20 years ago.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. So let's talk about this movie. Rocky 3. Where do we begin? Well, as all Rocky movies begin, we begin where the last one ended.
Just right there. He the only 1 second differentiates the champion from Rocky, and he becomes the new champion against Apollo Creed. And then we go right into a montage.
Rocky 4, Bob, we contend, has the best montage movie in the history of cinema.
That's all it is.
It's one giant montage. Very rarely does a film have the balls enough to start as a montage. And this movie has those balls. Those big, black Mr. T looking balls.
So
I say Mr. T looking because they have a mohawk carved or something.
Yeah. Because you get to see the montage, but you also get to see the actual text for Rocky 3 like 4 different times. You're like, just in case you're wondering, it's Rocky 3. Oh, what the hell, Rocky, are we watching? Because eventually it's going to be on TBS or TNT, and people are going to get confused when they do these marathons. You're like, wait a second. They're going to be watching the montage. You're like, is this the one where Sylvester Stallone's driving around angry after Apollo dies? No, this is a different montage. Hold on. Okay, it's Rocky 3. It's definitely Rocky 3.
Yo, Adrian! Magazines in that montage. So many fucking magazines.
Muppet Show. You're gonna see a lot of angry Clubber Lang throughout it, and you also a lot of drinky Paulie. He likes to drink. He likes his drinks.
Did you catch the DeLorean advertisement?
Yes, I wrote that down. Yeah.
All right.
And then of course his brother was there too, Frank Stallone. He was one of the fighters. And then the second movie he was one of the doo-wop singers next to the garbage can. Like if you're Frank Stallone, you know what? I think he had like actual one album that actually sold though. So whatever.
I get a lot of tail walking around telling people I'm Sly's brother.
Did you ever see the Copland SNL where right when Copland was coming out, Sylvester Stallone did SNL?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does this whole skit where he plays this slow guy who works at an Orange Julius, and he also plays like a guy from the street who got his wife tickets to go see Frank. He's like, we're gonna go see Sinatra. He's like, no, we're gonna see Frank Stallone.
So yeah, there's a lot. We have we have some DeLorean advertisements, lots of magazines, lots of angry Mr. T. We end it with the contrast of Rocky and Adrian making love in the grass to Mr. Clubber Lang beating some ass. You can write that down.
So a lot of drunk Paulie. He walks around and eventually he beats the hell out of a pinball machine.
He's mad.
He's got a lot
He's
of bad
mad.
feelings.
Right before that, he's in a bar and we find out that Rocky is going to fight the wrestling champion of the world, Thunderlips.
That Thunderlips, man.
I have a lot of things to say about Thunderlips.
So eventually Rocky confronts Paulie about just being like a jealous, lazy bum. And you can eventually, okay, Rocky 1, Rocky's kind of stupid. Rocky 2, Rocky's kind of stupid. But here in Rocky 3 and Rocky 4, he starts to become less stupid.
So, Bob, you know this series, obviously, very well. What part do you think Paulie plays? Like, I mean, besides the blunder he makes in 5 where they try to use him being a plot point, but throughout the series, like, what's the goodness of Paulie?
Well, he is a plot point. In 3, they had to explain why Stallone looks different now, why he's got all this plastic surgery and doesn't look like the guy from the first 2 movies. And they use that part to explain that to everybody. And he kind of did that throughout the whole series. He's, other than Creed, he's kind of important to where the stories go.
So they use him as a vehicle to advance the plot, I would say.
More or less. Definitely in 3.
Definitely in 3.
It seems like he should be more appreciative of what he's got.
Yeah, but I think that's the greatness of Paulie, is that he's not.
No matter how good it gets for Paulie, he's still going to want more and be more selfish. Whoa, Mickey lives in the house? I want to live in a house.
I mean, he's been... who plays Paulie? I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Burt Young.
Burt Young, thank you. Burt Young has been in a lot of things. But when I'm watching Law & Order at 2 a.m. and he plays a rapist who shaves off all of his body hair to not get detected, I'm thinking, Paulie's a rapist. And, like, this character defined a 50-year career for that man.
Well, yeah, it did for, all of them, really, other than Stallone, because he had Rambo, but Talia Shire's Adrian, Carl Weathers is Apollo, Mr. T is Mr. T.
Whoa. Carl Weathers is Action fucking Jackson, my friend.
No, he's Apollo.
Yeah, he's Apollo.
He's Dylan from Predator, you son of a bitch.
He's that guy from that commercial that one time. Yep, so as Paulie does here, how does Paulie advance the plot point here in the beginning? Michael, you mentioned he's ungrateful. He breaks his Rolex, which he then apologizes for.
And he doesn't even pronounce it properly because he's that mad.
Bill Rax, I don't remember what he said. So what is him and Rocky's talk there in the police station?
It's just about him being a scumbag, really. I mean...
Yeah, it's about him being a scumbag, but it also kind of shows he just wants to be needed. You know, he wants to work.
He wants a job.
Why don't you just ask me?
And then why don't you just ask me? The next scene is the match.
So, Bob, are you a wrestling fan at all?
I'm kind of ashamed of it, but yes.
Oh, my friend, no.
I know. I'm getting more and more comfortable with it.
You should be. You're talking to 2 guys who are going to multiple WrestleManias.
I'm gonna punch my card for multiple WrestleManias. You gotta embrace it.
You're talking to 2 guys who spent time in the squared circle a long time ago. We don't need to talk about it. Wait a minute, you work with him?
No.
Oh no? Oh, I thought you worked with him. Okay. Because I have pictures. I mean, you might be interested.
I did. I wasn't sure if you read the email. I did officially invite Bob to play on our wiffle ball team for the championship.
Well, was it the email I read or the 25-minute conversation we had about it, like the day before you sent that email?
Okay, fine. I was just pouring my heart out to you, Glenn, and I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
I know. We do it. We pour each other's hearts out all the time about wiffle ball. I get it.
This is how you don't end up in some shitty restaurant force feeding hot dogs to each other once every 5 years, Glenn. We have to do this.
I know. So, very interesting story. Obviously, Thunder Lips, now we know, is played by Hulk Hogan, Terry Bolla. Prior to this movie, Hulk Hogan was sterling gold. He just started become playing a character of Hulk Hogan in the AWA, which was in Minnesota, which is where he spent most of his wrestling career. But he was also at times working for Vince McMahon Sr. in the WWWF in New York, which was big time for him. So Hulk Hogan went to Japan, as he often did, and toured over there, and he came back.
He's big in Japan.
The story is that Stallone saw a match with WWWF match with Hulk and Andre the Giant at Shea Stadium. Not to ruin anyone's illusion that WrestleMania 3 was the first time that Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant fought. It was not. And so he got a hold of Bill Apter, who many people is the most famous wrestling photographer. Many people know, if you ever read a wrestling magazine in the 80s or 90s, they were called Apter mags because he was the guy who ran all of them. And he received a call from Sly Stallone saying, "You need to find me this guy." So he got in contact with Hogan. Hogan didn't believe it, so he had Sylvester Stallone call him. Hogan hung up on him, not thinking it was real. Got another call. Eventually took the part, told Vince McMahon Sr. that's what he was going to do. And Vince McMahon Sr. said, "If you do this movie, I'm firing you." At which point, Vince McMahon Sr. fired him. He went to L.A., met his wife on while he was out there filming this movie. We all know that was a happily ever after. And he did this movie and became huge. And Vince McMahon Jr. eventually brought him back into the fold to create Hulkmania. But this is how it all really started for Hulk Hogan. He was just a regional indie wrestler. Territory wrestler at the time. Just trying to make a living. Wasn't a world champ or anything. And this movie really kind of set him up to the future that we know as Hulkamania. So in many ways, this movie really set forth the WWF and their future, including Mr. T. We'll talk about him in a little while, but this movie, this is where he got discovered, and he went on to be Hulk Hogan's tag partner on several occasions, including WrestleMania 1. So this movie plays a huge, huge role in wrestling history.
Do you think WrestleMania happens without? Do you think WWF gets as big as it does without this movie, or does it just take longer?
No. It takes longer. I think at some point Vince would have done something, but when he saw this movie and he saw how big Hulk Hogan was, it was just so happened that Hogan got fired as his dad was in the process of selling the company to Vince Jr., who we now know as Vince Kennedy McMahon. And without this movie, I don't know if WrestleMania ever happened. Something along that lines would have happened at some point, but the timetable is set based on 1982. This movie kicked things in motion for Vince's grand vision. So huge. No one can talk enough about how this movie plays a role in the history of wrestling as we know it from 1983 on.
Well, before it seemed like it was like a Saturday night thing or Friday night thing, but this brought it into everyone's multiplex. Like they could go and wrestling was in a major motion picture.
It wasn't as much as that Hulk Hogan was in this movie, and no one knew who Hulk Hogan was. And when Vince looked at Hulk Hogan, he looked at money. And, and it was money. He was very correct. Vince is very rarely wrong.
And he used Mr. T and Hogan together for the first two WrestleManias, didn't he, or something like that? He did,
absolutely, because Mr. T and Hogan became friends, and
they're workout buddies at Venice Beach. We're workout buddies.
They were. And away they went. Let's not forget the A-Team would not have been created if this movie had not happened, but we'll talk about that.
Did you watch
Cash for Gold commercials?
Did you watch any of the Hall of Fame stuff with Hulk Hogan?
Yes.
Yeah, it had Sylvester Stallone. He did like a pre-stuff, and he inducted Hulk Hogan, and then he pretty much goes out on a limb and says that he wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Sylvester Stallone putting him in that movie. Do you
Right,
do you think that's
probably.
true, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this movie's set in place. Vince would have come up with something else at some point, but Hogan, who knows? Who
I
knows
mean,
where
Hulk Hogan is a household name. I mean, there's only a handful of names that are as well known as him. Babe Ruth, Michael
Right.
Jordan. I mean, there's not many others.
You're absolutely correct. And just on another aspect of it, without Hulk Hogan in this movie, then I mean, think of the WCW in the '90s. If there's no Hulk Hogan, I mean, think of this movie single-handedly launched the career. And now, granted, it could have failed, and we would never be talking about Hulk Hogan, but it didn't. The fact is this movie hit it at the right spot. Hogan got huge based on Vince's promotion, who Vince would not have seen if it wasn't for this. I mean, this movie really set everything in motion. Yeah, I mean, this is it. No prayers, no vitamins.
So the actual match itself, it seemed as though it was one of the best Hulk Hogan technical matches I've ever seen. He does the suplex, like I'm like I've never seen Hulk Hogan do a
A
suplex.
suplex?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan. The old saying is that Hulk Hogan doesn't know a wrist watch from a wrist lock, and he definitely in this movie was made to wrestle technically better. I would agree. Hogan, the movie starts first. I want that Thunderlips robe. FYI, not available on eBay. Checked it out, but Christmas is right around the corner. So Hogan comes to the ring with Hose. Well, now we know him as Hose, and they were just ladies of the night. He just is destroying Rocky. Leg drop, suplex.
He's like honestly, he's in like the best shape that I've ever seen him. He's in great physical shape as well.
Jake was impressed when he had hair without a bandana. So my son has never seen that in his lifetime. So, and we watch a lot of Hulk Hogan, but so leg drop, suplex, throws Rocky into the crowd, and then the fans start littering the ring, the likes of we haven't seen since the NWO first appearance of Hollywood Hogan.
One of the things I liked was Mickey, just him being Mickey, and he was yelling at Rocky like nobody does this much for charity, and Rocky's like, well, Bob Hope would, and then Mickey's like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. You know Bob Hope. So at this point, Thunderlips is just beating everyone up in the crowd, and Rocky gets an idea. He has an idea box. He says, "I'm gonna take off my gloves and I'm gonna beat him up."
Have you guys ever watched the first UFC? It was like a weird pay-per-view. They had to do it in
A meth house, I think.
Yeah, in like Colorado on an Indian reservation or something because it was too intense because it was ultimate fighting.
Native American.
They had one of their fighters was like a Japanese bone breaker, and one of the guys was a skilled boxer, and one of them was like jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and so the boxer ended up fighting a grappler, and he went into the ring with like one hand and like one boxing glove. Like that was his big plan. I'm like, oh dear God, this is going to be awesome. But at the end of the first, because he lasted one round, he ended up taking the boxing glove off and then went in and fought. And you'd think he would have watched Rocky 3 and would have figured this stuff out.
So Thunderlips just starts beating everyone up. Rocky sheds the gloves. Paulie, by the way, in early 1980s wrestling, chair shots were not a thing. But in this movie, Paulie's got that chair shot, and he nails it, breaks the chair across Thunderlips' back. Then eventually Rocky goes for the chokehold and ends up throwing him out of the ring. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. And then Rocky gets what he came there for.
Can I get a Polaroid?
Polaroid.
From my kid. My kid loves you.
Do you remember back when strip clubs used to do Polaroids? You use your arm around a lady.
That was never a thing, Glenn. That was never a thing.
I'm pretty sure that
was never a thing.
Did we take a Polaroid camera in there?
It wasn't my Polaroid camera.
It was Brickatoni's Polaroid camera.
Anyway.
So, Yeah. So it's a draw, ladies and gentlemen, to get their Polaroid, and then we get to see Rocky's mansion. Bob, in the prior movies, describe what Rocky lived in?
A shithole. He was in a little crappy apartment in the first one. Then he was like in a little tiny townhouse in the second, a little nicer, but still pretty small.
Is that like Rocky 5? Would you consider it similar to Rocky 5?
I've only seen Rocky 5 once.
Me too. And I learned about sex right afterwards.
Maybe it's too much.
Touch
But
me
I don't
all.
really. But yeah, it's quite the upgrade from Rocky 1 to 2 to 3.
Yeah, and to 4, quite honestly. The mansion just kept getting bigger.
Well, he ends up defending his title 10 different times, and he works with elocutionary teachers, and he starts doing his commercials much unlike in Rocky 2. He starts being able to project himself in a not retarded way, not mentally disabled way.
Thank you. We don't want letters again.
Okay.
Not
Right.
after the midget incident of,
I know.
what was that, 2007? So, one of the things I wanted to bring up, Rocky did not get thrown into the crowd, or Sylvester Stallone, I'm sorry, did not get thrown into that crowd. It was a stunt double. But Frank, we were talking about Frank earlier, Frank tried to volunteer to be the one who got thrown in the crowd, and Sylvester Stallone wouldn't let him. Like, he wanted to be the stunt double for getting thrown into the crowd, and Sly's like, nope.
No, not my
Fuck it up,
brother.
Frank.
Not my brother, Frank.
Well, no, I think Sly thought he's just going to fake a broken arm, going to try to get workman's comp, my insurance rates are going to go up on the movie.
Maybe
He knows
got a
what
brother
Frank's
like.
all about.
Everyone's got a brother like.
Everyone. I mean, Roger Clinton. You remember Roger Clinton? Billy Carter. Frank Stallone. So, Mick shows up in a limo. I thought that was kind of juxtaposed. No, when you think of Burgess Meredith, what role do you think of besides Mick? Do you guys have any roles you think of?
Penguin.
Oh, that's a good one.
He had a couple of episodes of Twilight Zone.
I like the Penguin. That beats mine. I was thinking of when he turned into a horsefly in Hot to Trot. He was the horse's
Bob
dad.
Goldthwait, John Candy.
He was John Candy's dad, the horse, and he died and he turned to a horsefly. That's what I always think of Burgess Meredith. Great movie. I went and saw Bob. Oh, nope, I didn't. My podcast partner left me.
I went and I ended up going seeing Bobcat. He is not a fan of his time on the doing Hot to Trot. I guess they were not kind to the animals at all.
Wait a minute, he talked about Hot to Trot.
He talked about Hot to Trot specifically, like during his stand-up, and then I asked him afterwards. When I got my pick, no big deal. And he said that it was not a good experience during Hot to Trot.
Is this the time to be talking about a pick when I was halfway to Peoria? Is this the time?
Hey, get me to there. I'm not gonna go. I'm in my house, Glenn.
You said you were at your house? You said you were at work, you son of a...
Oh, I was at work. Yeah, I was.
Oh, whatever. Whatever. That's fine. Hi, Bob. You have a lot of issues.
It's better to talk it out. If people want to listen, that's fine.
This
is just for me and Glenn.
They're in a limo. They're going to a big celebration.
And this is for Rocky to make a big announcement.
Well, no, it's for the statue.
Well, yeah, but he decides that he wants to make an announcement too. Isn't this probably?
Right, but I don't think that was it was planned for the announcement.
Right.
It was planned for the fucking statue.
All right.
Right, Bob?
I think it was both.
Ah, shit. You're one of those. So, yeah. So, what announcement's he gonna make? Bob, what's he gonna tell us?
That he's going to retire.
What? You don't retire at the top?
He should have retired after 2 when his eye was bad.
Like he basically had a detached retina, and that's impossible. I mean, you can't really. You've lost your sight.
And now we've pulled the string on all the movies, and it's over.
Yeah. Well, I thought Evander Holyfield. I thought he had like a heart murmur or a heart defect or something, but he kept boxing.
No, he didn't. I just
Okay.
watched the 30 and a
Okay,
real
good.
30 for 30
But
on Holyfield.
wasn't that a thing though?
Yeah, he had a heart murmur. He claims they thought he had a heart murmur, but then he went in front of a church a year later, and he was healed. And then he went to the doctors, and the doctor said, "You're healed." Most likely, the doctor misdiagnosed it the first time and he never had a heart murmur, or he was healed in front of the entire church.
No.
Praise Jesus.
Praise Jesus. Most likely, the doctor misdiagnosed it and he never had a heart murmur, and he was not healed in front of the entire church. But yes, he was out of boxing for a year and a half based on a faulty diagnosis or based on a miracle from Jesus. You decide.
So yeah, Rocky gives a speech. He's able to put together sentences, and he's not stupid anymore. But they disrobe the statue. It's had been covered the whole time, and like they all three of them, like him, Adrian, and Mickey, they're like, whoa, and then Rocky's just like, that's a good looking statue. Like you could see it in their face. Like all of them were super impressed about how handsome the artist's interpretation of Rocky was in statue form.
Where was that statue?
It was some art museum in
Yeah, with
Philadelphia.
the art museum with the steps, and they didn't want it at all.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to get to. So what happened to it? Like in real life, the art museum did not want it.
They
And
put it
then
outside, didn't they?
they gave it to not the Spectrum. They gave it to a different sports stadium in Philadelphia, which is no longer there. And then it got moved in front of the Spectrum, and now the art museum has taken it back finally.
I thought it was like at the bottom of the steps now, not at the top of the steps.
Now it's at the bottom of the steps,
Okay.
but the art museum didn't want it all, and then it went to a different place, and that place was going to get torn down, so they put it in front of the Spectrum, which is where the 76ers played, which is where who ran shows there? I think WWF ran shows at the Spectrum, and then WC or NWA ran at the Civic Center, or vice versa. Anyway, now it's in front of it's at the bottom of the steps.
Part of me was thinking, well, if they put it there, they're going to get more clientele. They're going to get more traffic into the art museum. But maybe they're thinking that's not the clientele they'd want in their art museum.
Or Philadelphia, and I'm a large person myself, doesn't want us fat people having heart attacks as we try to run up the steps.
I ran up the steps. Well, we put it at the bottom of the steps. I'm sure there's people. I'm sure tens of thousands of people have been like, "There's no way I'm not running up those steps." So if you get to put it at the bottom of the steps, they're like, "Yeah, I can just go look at the statue." I guess take that away. I guess you're right. That does make a lot of sense.
I mean, I eat a lot of cheesesteak.
At this point, Mr. T, he disrespects his woman.
Yeah, so Clever Lane comes to the audience. He feels that his voice is not being heard at all. He's beating people, and Rocky's out there just fighting chumps. He's number one. I pay the fool who don't want to fight Clever Lane. So he's number one, and he doesn't know why he's not getting the respect, so he's going to take it to the streets, y'all. That's what my homies do.
I remember watching like 2 or 3 fights with Mike Tyson, and then Evander Holyfield was in the crowd, and I just remember them all talking about, "Oh, we're gonna wait for this Evander Holyfield-Mike Tyson fight. It's gonna be huge."
Right, he was in the crowd at the Buster Douglas fight.
Well, a couple of them, yeah. And you're like, "How come we're not watching Holyfield? Why are we watching Buster Douglas? There's no way this guy's gonna win."
That's
There's
what Holyfield was saying.
No way this guy's gonna get a second Genesis game.
Honestly, the Holyfield-Tyson 30 for 30 is unbelievably good.
All right, I haven't watched it yet. It's in my queue. All right, maybe tonight.
It came out last month. My wife actually sat down, not willingly, like she just walked into the room and ended up watching most of it, and that's the last thing she wants to do. But it was a really good 30 for 30, and there's a lot of parallels to. I mean, now that you mention it, like Tyson, his people were ducking Holyfield. Like he didn't know this. But his people were ducking Holyfield. And you get the illusion that Paulie, as the movie goes on, has been ducking any good fighters to fight Rocky. You don't get the illusion. He straight up says it. And, it puts a new slant for a little, if you actually sit and think about it, it puts a new slant on Rocky as the hero. But it also makes him more of a hero because it's flawed. Rocky's flawed because he's not the best fighter.
Well, back to. I mean, it feels like Tyson. I mean, he was definitely the better puncher, but I mean, maybe Holyfield was definitely the better fighter. You know?
Well, yeah, that's pretty well defined.
Yeah.
That's like almost the theme of that documentary is that
Okay.
Holyfield is a better boxer, but because he was a better boxer, he never got a lot of respect because he was boring. Being a great boxer is boring. Being a big puncher and fun is awesome.
It kind of feels like baseball a little bit. Like everyone wants to see the home runs. Like the home run hitters get all the respect, but no one loves Rod Carew. You know what I'm saying? Like no one's got tattoos of Rod Carew on their body. I'm sure somebody does, but
Well,
you
he
know what I'm saying.
converted. He converted.
Exactly. And they don't do tattoos. So.
Anyway, I don't know why Evander Holyfield is the star of his podcast.
Okay.
So Clubber Lang just wants his shot. Now, I'm sure most people who are listening to this podcast may or probably know the story of Mr. T. And when it comes to this movie and life, I want to really quick paint a picture for you guys. I'm in a new studio, Studio MH. I'm familiar with my studio. Michael, you're familiar with your studio.
Yeah.
Bob, you're probably familiar. Is this where your studio is normally?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I'm in a new one tonight. I've never been there before. I'm looking in front of me. I have our producer. He's normally very sitting up, waiting for anything to go wrong. But it's his studio, so he's very relaxed. He's laying down on the couch. He's got us on the big screen. He's got Rocky 3 on his phone. He's just chilling, man. He's just living the life. He's got he's got no pants. He's got a Cubs jersey on, and a cat laying on his leg. Like I want to almost take the camera, but then I don't want you guys to have to see him with no pants on. I'm just saying, this is a peaceful podcast. Everyone's just having fun.
Everyone's just having a good time.
Everyone's having a good time. I'm literally watching on his phone the final fight. I won't tell you who it is, but I'm watching.
So Mr. T was famous for being a doorman and a bouncer. He ended up being Steve McQueen, Diana Ross's, and Muhammad Ali's bodyguard at some point.
Yeah, and he got all the. I mean, obviously he's famous for all the jewelry. That was just every time someone lost a necklace at the bar, he threw it on. MF Jones has turned around. He gave me the thumbs up because we talked about this today, but I've read this also. I think I read the Mr. T biography or autobiography. Or no, it wasn't auto. It was biography. Anyway, so every time someone would leave a piece of merchandise at the bar, he would put it around his neck, and then they'd come identify it. And so Sylvester Stallone in Chicago at a club saw him, liked him.
He loved the mohawk.
Him. Loved the mohawk, loved everything about him. Now, Mr. T is also in WWE Hall of Fame. Michael, you were at that ceremony, right?
No, I was.
Oh, because you cheaped out, you son of a bitch. I was at that ceremony where Mr. T talked about his mama for 25 minutes until they sent Kane out to get him off of the stage because it was so bad.
The Ultimate Warrior, that was his speech too, right?
Yeah, I was there. You weren't. And he died.
I was having a good time on Bourbon Street. That's what I was doing.
I joined you 2 hours later and had just of a good time. Except you saw Matt Hardy drunk and I didn't.
I don't think so.
Anyway, so yeah, Mr. T was just a guy, and they recruited him for this movie as well, and obviously another life-changing situation. Like I said earlier, where would the Cash for Gold business be if it wasn't for Mr. T? So, Clubber, as you mentioned, he wants to show Adrian what a real man is. Rocky tries to fight him. Mick says, no, you're done. You're retired. Rocky says basically the equivalent of F you. Mick leaves. Mick tells him he can't win. And so now Rocky's basically announced he's going to fight, so he chases Mick, goes back to the mansion where Mick's packing up. Do you think Rocky should just let him go? It would have saved his life, probably.
Well, I mean it's
old.
like it's like indoor cat versus outdoor cat. I mean, how much of a life does an indoor cat really have? You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, he lived longer, but whatever.
I mean, I'm sitting with 3 indoor cats right now. I don't know what you want me to say.
They're gonna live long lives, long fat lives, and they're gonna be bitchy at each other. That's what's gonna happen.
So, Mick tells him that Clubber's a wrecking machine. He's hungry. He tells him, "You haven't been hungry since you won the title." And then something weird happens where I guess Mick just suddenly agrees to train him. Like, I'm not sure how that happened, but all of a sudden Mick's gonna train him. So next we get they're trained in the Rocky Circus Gym. It's a gym. It's a gym there, Rocky.
And then, of course, we get a second appearance of Frank Stallone. He's there singing. And then Paulie, he's selling merchandise. He's got pins, he's got T-shirts, he's got balloons. You're like, Paulie, you should be happy. What, you should have contentness inside you.
So what stands out about this whole training scene compared to other training scenes, Bob? You tell me.
He's not training.
There you go.
He's taking pictures with fans.
Yeah, when Rocky's serious, he's out in the cold or the warmth.
He's wearing those weird gray sweats.
Drinking eggs,
letting his balls hang down.
Follow the Carmine! Follow the Carmine!
Not in this movie though. This movie,
No.
Not in this scene. You got weird balloons. Jim's there. He's posing pictures.
We got those Bobo dolls, the big inflatable things that you're supposed to hit.
Mick hates it.
He doesn't love it at all. There's balloons bubbles all over the place.
Meanwhile, at the same time, we start to see Clubber Lang train in Stu Hart's dungeon.
Exactly. And he's got like rope. He's doing pull-ups with rope and like nails.
Yeah. Do you remember that time, Michael, you were in that Stu Hart documentary as an extra? What was your line? They used to call you what?
I don't know. They should pop the blood vessels behind. I like it when they pop the blood vessels.
Yeah, but you had that one line.
I don't remember.
They used to call us Hart the Fart.
They used to call us Hart the... Have you watched any of the documentaries about wrestling, Bob?
Some, not a lot. Not that one.
Wrestling with Shadows.
That was the Wrestling with Shadows. There's the Beyond the Mat. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
And then the new one with Jake This is Snake. Have you seen that one yet?
Not yet. Have you guys seen it?
I have, but how have you seen it, Michael?
I haven't seen it yet. I've watched, because they do like a video blog or vlog, I guess.
Yeah.
I've watched a bunch of those, and they're kind of funny.
I have the press copy of it because I have to review it.
Oh, really?
I have to review it.
We have it too. I just haven't watched it. We actually had Diamond Dallas Page on the podcast.
Nice.
Talk about the movie.
Yeah, I just got it from his partner last week because I have to write a review for it for PopCultureBeast.com.
I watched a bunch of stuff on YouTube about it, and it felt like it was affecting, like some of the film festival stuff was online, and they showed some of the interviews and some of the questions for people in the crowd, and it felt like it had to affect a lot of people. Is it pretty good? Because it talks about I guess what I'm seeing from the film, from all the different previews and stuff, is that Diamond Dallas Page takes Jake the Snake and tries to help him, but all of a sudden Scott Hall comes into the picture and he tries to help him as well.
Yeah, they actually they videotaped. They lived in Diamond's house. Eventually, there's a story you get there, but they lived in Diamond's house, and everything is videotaped. I've watched it 3 times now, and I have to watch it one more time this weekend so I can finish my review. The first couple of times I watched for pleasure, and then I'm watching 2 times for reviewing it. And sometimes I just like to just keep watching the same thing because I really enjoy it.
It seems like a Frankie Angel kind of situation that might make you tear up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me the important part was I was there for the finale. Like, the finale was the Hall of Fame, and I got to be there that night, which is one of the most special nights I'll ever have. And I mean, it was so awesome to see Jake get inducted and Scott in the same night. And then we ran into Scott like the next day on the street.
Oh, we saw him when we first got there into New Orleans at the other fanfare thing.
Yeah, but we didn't talk to him. Do you remember when we went up and just said, "Hey, good job"?
I was probably eating more pizza. Anyway.
No, you were with me. So here's the thing: we were in New Orleans for WrestleMania, and every wrestler we saw was walking around trying not to be noticed, but they all had their own T-shirt on. It's like Scott Hall is just sitting there walking through the French Quarter with his headphones on, like, "Don't talk to me." But I have a Scott Hall T-shirt on.
Or you see Peter Mayhew, the guy that played Chewbacca, just walking around with a Chewbacca T-shirt on. You're like, yep, that's Chewbacca.
That was the night or the day that we got a picture with Tyler Breeze, but we didn't know who Tyler Breeze was, and now he's on TV. So.
Because he was on NXT then, right?
Right. Everyone just kept calling him NXT, and I'm like, Tyler
NXT
Breeze.
guy. I want a picture with next. I want a picture with that guy.
They all thought that was his gimmick. I'm sorry. All right, that's too nerdy.
Yeah, but the Hardy Boy we saw, he was like way drunk.
Matt Hardy, yes.
He was like,
he's had problems. He's gone to rehab.
I'm sorry. He was
anyway.
Like shit the bed drunk.
Do you think Bob's here to talk about our shitty wrestling stories?
Okay.
Well, I will say that Jake the Snake documentary, they're trying for award considerations.
Yes.
One of my co-hosts, he's a critic, and he gets to vote for the Critics' Choice Awards, and they sent it to him for awards. So they're trying to get an Oscar out of this. I don't know if they will, but they're trying.
Well, the bad news for them is that each of the last 3 years, I've reviewed the documentary I think will win an Oscar. And they're my choice this year, and the bad news for them is I'm 0 for 2. So last year, what was it? The Overnighters. The Overnighters.
The oil guy?
Yeah, about the oil boom in North Dakota. They got screwed. I'll contend they got screwed.
I thought that was pretty good. It seemed like an Oscar kind of documentary.
And it had a twist ending. How do you not vote for the one that has a twist ending?
It was pretty good.
Back to this documentary.
So Rocky 3. So they're getting at. He's got. What's the prediction for this match, Glenn?
Rocky says his last fight. Apollo, he's on commentary. He gives theories, but he doesn't want to predict a winner. He doesn't want to commit to that.
What's Mr. T's prediction?
I'll pay the fool who goes against Mr. T. Or Clubber Lang. Pain.
His prediction is for Pain, Glenn.
No, hold on. No. I do believe that's the second fight.
Oh, it is.
Okay. I think you're right. It's the second fight.
It's the second
my
fight.
bad. I'm sorry.
Once again, this is what I told you earlier.
I jumped the gun. Just all of a sudden.
Jumped the gun. Yeah, you're jumping a whole page into my notes. In this fight, Rocky says his last fight. Apollo won't give an answer on commentary. They show up. Or they're in the back. Clubber gets into a shouting match with Rocky. Mick gets shoved. He goes down. He's having pain.
So if he doesn't die here, how does he die? Like, is he yelling at teenagers to get off his lawn, or is he he's playing backgammon with people at the old folks' home?
Hooker.
Okay, awesome. Okay, blow.
No, not blow. Hooker.
Okay.
So. Clubber says that you're dead meat. Mick's in the back. Rocky wants to cancel the fight, but they won't let him. Adrian and Mick won't let him. He gets in the fight. He comes out swinging hard. Everything that Mick told him not to do, he does. He goes after Clubber Lang fast and early, and he's got him on his back for what, 45 seconds? Minute?
Yeah.
And then Clubber, tops. And then Clubber comes out, whips his ass. We go to the second round. Rocky, at this point, his eyes wonky again. He comes out, and he's out for the count in the second round. Gets knocked out. Apollo looked very sad. Very sad.
You can tell that he was definitely going for Rocky in this, especially since it's kind of an ego thing. Like, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose to the best.
So, did Mick tell him that he won, or did Rocky tell Mick that he won?
Yes, he did.
I thought so. I put a question mark there because I thought Rocky told him he won.
Well, at this point, Rocky stopped speaking English. You can't really tell what he's saying at all. But do you think Mickey believed him?
Yeah.
Mickey died, so it didn't matter.
Okay.
Didn't matter. Real quick, we have real-time comments from real-time fans. Tom S. says, I suddenly look like Wolverine. and he misses your mustache, Michael. But he does now want to watch Rocky 3. So far doing her job. That's real-time comments from real-time people. Brought to you by MC Sports. What, you don't want to shop for sports in the mall anymore? MCSports.com.
Sports.com. It's only like a 30% markup. Go ahead and shop at MC Sports.
Dude, that's our fucking sponsor.
Thank you, MC Sports. I mean, we're not going to get DP Dough. We're not going to get the what's Pizza Cox? Who makes those? Flingers. Yeah, they're not gonna. Oh, we said the name. We're supposed to say the name.
You asked.
So this is when Rocky doesn't speak English, and then we go to the funeral scene.
Oh, hold on. I believe I say. Mick dies in Rocky's arms. Rocky cries in gibberish. Bob, you're the expert. What did Rocky say?
I don't know. The same thing Rambo said at the end of First Blood.
Calling me a baby killer?
This guy's a keeper. Yeah, we go to Mick's funeral. Jake points out last night, I didn't know he was Jewish. I had no idea. I had no idea what he was talking about. He goes, "This is the Star of David. He's a Jew." I did not know he was Jewish either.
This makes me think of during our theatrical stunt group days, Glenn. We had a funeral for Pinchy the lobster.
What about the funeral that you had for me?
Did we really do that?
You carried me out in a coffin.
Oh, that was different. That was more. I'm more concerned about Pinchy the lobster that we ended up eating, and I killed by putting in the. It was the water was too cold. I was just trying to keep him fresh. Everyone else didn't seem to care if he lived or died, but he was a delicious lobster.
So Bob,
and
we used to wrestle professionally, and there was a story where a lobster got put down a guy's pants, and it was a live lobster. So Michael thought he would try to save the lobster backstage, and he put him in the locker room. He put him in some water, which killed Pinchy the lobster.
Apparently, it needs to have some salination and maybe a little warmer, and it didn't work out for Pinchy.
The next night I ate Pinchy the lobster.
It was delicious.
Pinchy was delicious. It was our first time ever having lobster.
You boil anything long enough to spit down some other dude's pants, tastes all right.
That's professional wrestling for you. So, Apollo shows up at the gym to talk to Rocky, and this is the first time.
This is right after Rock throws his helmet at his beautiful self in statue form.
Oh, you're right. This is the first time we hear the famous 4 words. The 4 words my dad would repeat to me no less than 252,358 times. Eye of the tiger, son. Eye of the tiger.
And it wasn't even going to be Eye of the Tiger. It was going to be Another One Bites the Dust.
It was going to be Queen, and it was not Queen. Because they couldn't get the rights.
Well, I heard it was going to be the song from Karate Kid, too.
Yeah, then they tried to do You're the Best.
All right.
That was second choice. Third choice, Survivor! Thank God, because where would Survivor be right now?
So, Apollo, he's got a plan. He's going to take him back to basics. No more working out in a hotel lobby.
So, they're going to go to California to train.
Hey, you said back to basics. He never had basics.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Teach him how to box.
Rocky 3, back to basics.
Step forward when you punch. This is how you jump rope.
So, they're going to go to L.A. They're going to train. They get to L.A. Turns out they're going to train Skid Row.
Paulie does not like that. He says many racist comments and inappropriate things.
Well, he doesn't like people who are different than him.
I don't like people that are different. Well, maybe they don't like you, Paulie.
They don't like you, Paulie. Paulie, who say they like you? It's okay. We have Dago friends. We can talk like
That's
that.
totally fine. And our friend Mike, what was his roommate's name?
Paul?
Yep. He liked to work.
R.I.P.
He liked to work out a lot. He liked to work out a lot. Let's just put it that way. You doing red wine? What are you doing tonight?
Yep, red wine. Red. Nope, not red
UB40.
wine. UB40. So, I have the tiger. I have the tiger. Rock. I have the tiger. Paulie, he's kind of a shit talker, as you mentioned. But what do we get to see right after Paulie talks shit? Who shows up for the first time in this movie? Our favorite Rocky character of all time. If you go back to our podcast from 6 years ago.
No pain.
No pain.
No pain. Throw the damn towel.
No pain trainer's back. Or there, actually, for the
he's
first
great.
time on Team Rocky.
He's fantastic.
No pain.
No pain. I mean, maybe when I'm first starting out, I want Mickey to give me the basics. But if I want to be champion, I'm going with no pain.
No pain.
No pain.
So this leads to a Rocky and Apollo running on the beach. Rocky loses his shit, man.
And he has, I guess, the only real scene with Adrian at the beach when she's talking. He's afraid, all right? I'm afraid I'm nothing. It's the only real scene where she's acting. But I mean, it's actually a pretty good acting-wise scene for her.
Wasn't a good fighter. Nothing is real.
Why did
if you
you
don't
call me up
believe in
like
who
that?
you are.
You look an idiot.
Nothing is real if you don't believe in who you are.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to lose what I got.
No,
They just put a bunch of chumps in front of me.
he doesn't want to make love underneath that tree anymore. He doesn't. Probably been a while since intercourse between those two.
The first time in my life I'm afraid.
So I guess it's important. And eventually she leaves and he gets back to training.
She talks excuses. No excuses, no fear. Rocky. So then we go to the montage. What's our training music, Bob?
Oh man, I forgot. Is
It's the Rocky theme.
it gonna fly now?
Yes. Gonna fly now. Ends up they're running on the beach in sand. Almost as homoerotic as Top Gun and volleyball sand.
Apollo's got this half t-shirt with these short shorts. And it's
The first training montage when they're running the beach, they focus on their thighs. Their bulging thighs.
Yeah,
They do one at a time.
yeah. I guess he was
black thighs, here's white thighs.
less than 3% body fat on Sylvester Stallone, which is incredible.
2.5.
Yeah, but it's
All right, he got busted for doing steroids in the last Rambo. You don't think he was on roids here?
yeah, I know.
I learned it from watching you. Of course he's on roids. So they frolic in the ocean after the training scene.
After Apollo lets him win.
Apollo lets him win. And then we go straight to MSG. That thing that slows you down after you've had
Too much Chinese food.
much
I guess
Chinese
it really was filmed at the Forum, I guess, in Philadelphia is what they're saying. So at this point, Paulie is kind of in his corner. I guess his ring people are Paulie and No Pain.
The crowd was very pro-Rocky.
Yes, yes.
Very pro-Rocky crowd. This is when they do the interviews that we talked about earlier. Clubber Lang, he doesn't need strategy. Balboa is predictable. He pities the fool, and his prediction is pain.
Sorry, I jumped ahead on that. I apologize.
Because there's a guest. You're apologizing because you want to be in his fucking
I'm
podcast
tired of
again.
apologizing to you, Glenn. Maybe it feels like I need an apology.
You know what he's learned after an hour and 5 minutes?
These people,
This guy's the
these
funny
guys are
one.
gay.
Yeah, well, that too. Okay, he's
But
learned.
Rocky breaks you guys up.
He's learned several. Oh shit! It's happening again. So Apollo wants Rocky to wear his colors. What are his colors, Bob?
The American flag.
Red, white, and fucking blue. God bless America. So, Clubber's the heel in this crowd. Rocky's the face. Again, Rocky comes out. They love him. Clubber comes out. They don't like him. Beginning of match, Lang pushes Apollo. Now, this is the only Rocky where they didn't fast forward through the match.
At this point, he does call Rocky boy a lot, and it made me think a lot about in Eddie Murphy's Delirious when he talked about Norton and Ralph Cramden talking to each other in the Mr. T voice. Anyway, continue.
Way to make it racial.
Okay.
So, Rocky comes out, and he's too quick for him in the first round. Rocky's hitting and bobbing, ducking, weaving. I mean, he fought the fight like a hybrid of what Paulie wanted and didn't want. Because earlier, Paulie just wanted him to kind of hang low in the first few rounds and kind of wear him out. But Apollo got him in shape. And I don't think Paulie believed in him like that.
Mickey?
Mick. Yeah.
What did I say?
Paulie.
What?
Paulie, like Mike's roommate, Paulie.
Oh, yeah. Well, Paulie's involved.
But there was, at the very beginning of the fight, he says, "Don't let this bum. Don't fight this bum's fight. Fight your own fight." It felt like they were gonna create a different way of fighting. Like in Rocky 2, they change him from left-handed to right-handed, and then he goes back to left-handed. Like there's strategy here. It felt like they didn't really have a strategy, and Rocky's just like, "I'm just gonna throw my head at his fist as hard as possible." And that's my strategy.
I think they had a strategy. I just think Rocky kind of took Apollo's strategy and integrated it with Mick's original strategy. Because Apollo's strategy was come at him.
He doesn't know what he's doing. I know what I'm doing. He doesn't know what he's doing.
And by the way, I'm sorry, Bob, go.
Well, his strategy was just to get punched in the head and wear him out by blocking punches with his face.
Which sets up Rocky 5. I think that, he combined strategies from what he knew from what Mick told him and from what he knew what Apollo told him. The hit and duck. And in the first round, that totally worked. Like, he did it. And then the second round comes out, and then Lang's just punishing him. Mr. T's killing him. But Rocky keeps telling him, that ain't bad. How come Rocky and Scott Hall are the same person? Hey, bad guy. That ain't so bad. That ain't so bad. Really, Rocky and Scott Hall, same guy. So second round, if you were judging it, you would give it to Lang. But Rocky's still upbeat about it. And in Rocky's corner, No Pain is telling him, "Hey, what are you doing? No pain." But Rocky's like, I got this. So in the third round, he's breathing heavy though. He is. Third round, Rocky's taunting him. And he's getting killed. This is where the "I'm going to get punched in the face" strategy comes into play. Because he's getting killed. So Rocky's taunting him. And Rocky's he's taking it hard from him. But eventually Rocky gets the upper hand. And he just goes after it and he knocks him the fuck out.
They almost have a similar situation where he falls down like in Rocky 2, except he rights himself, and he's the champion of the world once again.
Yep, so Rocky wins. Apollo, throughout the movie, when he was involved, he wanted a favor. So after Rocky wins, the movie's not over. They go to the gym, and Apollo does this. Ding, ding. Now, as a child of Rocky, my father, would often look at me and he'd go, ding, ding. And I knew he was about to beat my ass. Not for real.
But just roughhousing, grab ass.
Just roughhousing.
Yeah.
Just a little cock pulling.
Nothing illegal. Totally fine.
Nothing. It's all good. I'm his son.
We came to a conclusion, or at least the personal theory of Dre from the Old School Wrestling Podcast, was that this fight here, this dark match that no one ever saw except Rocky and Apollo, that the match here determined the life of Apollo Creed. That Rocky blames himself for killing Apollo Creed because he didn't fight up to his standards and let Apollo beat him in this dark match.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay.
That was supposed to be the last scene ever of Rocky. When Stallone wrote this, that was it. That was the last scene ever.
In fairness, the prior to the same deal.
Well, true. True. He never thought it would go to a second or a third.
Or a seventh.
Well, when he wrote this one, he wrote it as, okay, this is what a perfect wrap up to the trilogy. Rocky and Apollo fight, and you don't know the end. It's about the story. And then it made more money, and then Rocky ended the Cold War.
And the walls came down, and thank you, Mr. Gorbachev. Thank you. But do you think that's a plausible scenario, Bob, that he threw the fight and let Apollo win?
No.
No, I don't either.
Rocky's not that good.
Okay.
Yeah, Apollo beat his ass.
Yeah, and then he fought 10 scrubs, got his ass kicked by Clubber Lang, and then Apollo taught him how to fight once.
Yeah, I agree with you. Rocky's basically presented as the worst fighter. I mean, chumps have held that belt, and Rocky's one of those chumps.
Do you think that Ronda Rousey is the real life Rocky 3?
No.
Mm-mm.
Why would you say that?
I mean, maybe she's been fighting chumps, and she's just been defeated. So maybe she needs to go train differently. Go swim in the pool with Apollo.
No,
I watched her block a punch with her face, and she got knocked out. Rocky didn't. Rocky's not real.
Right. Here's the deal with Ronda Rousey. Ronda has a lot of stuff going on. And fighting became nothing to her. Like, fighting just became part of being famous.
So it's totally different than Rocky 3.
Yeah, Rocky was never a good fighter.
Okay.
Ronda had it in her at one time. She just lost track of it. Rocky just wasn't good.
Quick rundown. How do you rank this out of your top? Let's just do 1, 2, 3, and 4. What are your favorite Rocky movie, Glenn?
See, that's bullshit, because I love 4 for horrible
For me, I'd probably
reasons,
go.
though.
Not that they're.
I'll go 4, 1, 3, 2.
That's what I would do too, like 4, 1, 3, 2. But
that's not a true Rocky fan, and I get it. I get I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong.
Well, I know the first one's the best cinematic film, but I would rather, if I'm dying, I'm watching Rocky 4. You know?
Right. Yeah, 4, 1, 3, 2. And that one's only in there because I'm trying to have some legitimate credibility. Bob, yours?
Probably
1, 2, 3, 4.
No. I hate 2. 1, 3, 4, 2. I think. And the reason 4 is not higher is I had a horrible experience with it later on, where I went to show my wife, girlfriend at the time, this movie's amazing. You got to watch it. And for the first time I watched it, I'm like, oh my god, this isn't a movie. This is just guys training.
Yeah, we don't show these things to our lives, buddy.
Yeah, it was a mistake. Well, I was young.
I know. I get it. That's why I had 4 starter wives, so I could learn my mistakes. I kid.
Or he calls them training wheels, whatever. No. I would definitely recommend this to any Rocky fan. Have you seen the newest 2 Rocky films, Glenn?
Okay, so I have not watched Rocky Balboa. and I will at some point. I'm you know me, I'm very stubborn about what I watch, but I am gonna go see Creed this weekend. Like I will watch Rocky Balboa. I have nothing against Rocky Balboa. I just get very pissed off for very small reasons when it comes to films, and I don't watch them, even though everyone has told me it's not horrible. But I will go see Creed this weekend.
Rocky Balboa is just like the greatest hits album. It's not really a movie. It's
Right.
just a little bit of everything.
How many
And
montages
I'm okay
does it
with
have?
that.
But Creed, I would put, if I was going to go all of them, it'd be Rocky 1, then Creed, and then the rest of them.
That's what I've heard. And I will definitely go see Creed this weekend. Like I really want to see that movie.
Okay. Do you guys have any 80s amnesias from this film?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I was definitely thinking about
DeLoreans?
like DeLoreans are good. I was thinking the striped socks, which I tend to enjoy, and then also the Bobo dolls, the inflatable 3.5 foot dolls that you would punch. I remember having like a Bugs Bunny one like that. I think that makes me think about being a kid. Do you have any, Bob?
Man, Rocky's hair.
There's a lot of poof. It's pretty poofy.
It's very Dago-y.
God damn it, Glenn.
What? What did I do? I protected the Jews.
Okay, God damn it. So, have you seen anything recently? Do you have any top that's?
Me? No.
Yeah.
I mean, TV's great. Watch TV.
Well, I guess the wrestling documentary, you definitely would say that's the top.
Oh yeah, that's top that. People can't get that. Fargo season 2 is unbelievable.
Would you say Bokeem Woodbine does pretty well in that?
Who now?
The black dude.
Yeah, he's great.
I thought he did great too. We talked about it in our top dad earlier in the our special top dad episode. I said Bokeem Woodbine, he brings it.
What top that episode was that part of that?
I was part of that. You talked about it earlier on your podcast, Bob. But Electric Boogaloo. How do you feel about that documentary?
Don't get racist.
I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was just insanely entertaining. I wish they spent more time on the second half of it, which was the era I was more familiar with.
Yeah, like Masters of the Universe and like
Over the Top.
Over the Top. What's the one?
Superman 4.
Superman 4. The Delta Force. Delta Force is the one I was thinking.
Oh yeah.
Like that, I remember seeing that. I'm like, that's how we're taking out the terrorists. This totally makes sense. You're gonna send it. Are you okay, Glenn?
I'm arm wrestling.
I was like, good. Yeah, but Over the Top, and especially when they got to the part with Michael Dudikoff, and he just totally felt like they made promises, like the same way like studio heads made promises to starlets or future starlets that got off the bus during the studio system, like you're gonna be a star someday, you're gonna make it someday, and then they made all these promises to Michael Dudikoff. He just seemed so sad and defeated. You're like, hey man, you wanna go grab a beer sometime? Poor guy.
We're working on getting him on the podcast.
Oh really?
That's the goal.
Son of a bitch. So we have some upcoming shows, a couple possible upcoming interviews that we will brief you on. But we do have an iTunes account you can review our episode on. How do you do that, Michael?
You go to iTunes.
And then you type in us, and then you...
And you write stuff. I don't know.
Right.
You figure it out. We do appreciate it, and then if you message us, we'll probably review some movie you'll want us to do, and we got stickers too.
No.
I mean, we're not above that sending you stickers.
Okay. We'll send you stickers, but we probably won't review the movie you want.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm gonna read a sample. I have a sample review provided to me. I'm gonna read it. It says, "The awesome duo of Michael and Lawrence are here as your personal guide to the greatest decade since the 70s and before the 90s ruined everything. Video games, music, television, but mostly movies are the vehicles of choice for this weekly trip down memory lane Do yourself a favor and listen to any episode and try not to get hooked. That's from Aaron. Thank you, Aaron, for your kind words. Basically, he's saying we're like heroin, black tar heroin. If you listen to us, you're going to want to kill yourself by listening to us until you die.
We do appreciate the commitment. Appreciate that. Thank you.
So if you want to leave a comment like that, maybe we'll read it on the show. So go to iTunes, type in the Awesome 80s Podcast, and click leave a comment. If you're doing it from my account, too bad. I already left one. But please leave that review. Hey, Bob, where can people find you?
We're at ihatecritics.net, as well as iTunes.
Do you have a Facebook page?
Sure, yeah, we do. It's just Facebook. I don't even know what it is. Facebook/IHateCritics. I don't know.
What about a Twitter? Pinterest?
What is our Twitter? We never check it. H8Critics.
See, Michael? Twitter's a dying medium. It's a dying medium.
It's nobody's gonna use it anymore. Nobody.
I use it. I tried to buy Ric Flair's book on it last week.
I mean, I use my personal one a lot more, but yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Bob. No one asked you.
I love Twitter.
Thank you so much
Bob!
for the podcast, Bob. So what's
Michael,
our next show going to be, Glenn?
Well, I don't know because we have an interview that we postponed, and that may happen. We'd love to have our annual Christmas party.
We'll schedule that. We're going to do.
People need to take work off for that, but you haven't scheduled it.
What am I supposed to do? It's not my decision. It's not my wife's decision.
Whose decision is it?
Drug addict's decision, Glenn. That's whose decision it is.
I don't think you should leave our podcast in the hands of drug addicts.
So.
No, back up. So when are we going to have our Christmas party?
We're going to have it sometime between now and probably the 31st of December.
People need to take work off.
For this. We will get that done, but next week, we're going to go ahead and talk about it on air. Me and sometimes guest host Mike, we're probably going to drop a special episode about the new Star Wars movie. Spoilers included. Just letting you know.
What?
We're going to talk about the new Star Wars movie. Have you heard of Star Wars before, Glenn?
Oh, wait. That's not going to go on our airwaves. It's nothing against Star Wars. If you want to call me and you want me to talk about it, that's fine. We'll do it.
Okay. But thanks for listening.
I fucking swear to God, I'll delete it.
Thanks, Bob, for sitting in. We do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You can follow us at if you want to tweet us, it's at the Awesome 80s Pod. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/awesome80s. Circle us on Google Plus at google.com/awesome+80 spelled out. That's how you can watch our episodes live. You can also like the video, subscribe to us on YouTube. Go to our website, theawesomeages.com, theawesomeages.net, both redone, and you can buy a T-shirt. Don't buy a T-shirt because Michael's a dick.
I'm in charge of the T-shirts, and if you order a T-shirt, it will be sent to you promptly because that's part of my responsibility. Whatever's part of Glenn's responsibility, I don't know if he's going to send it to you promptly or not.
I've already sent out promptly.
Okay, you promptly. You say
that's fun. You can. Do you know what Patreon is, Michael?
I've heard of it.
Well, you can go to patreon.com. That's patrean.com. Then search the Awesome 80s Podcast, and you could donate an amount of money each week to listen to our free show. And then it wouldn't be free to you, but you would feel better from robbing us from our family, which you're robbing me right now. So by doing so, you'd feel better about yourself.
Every week or so, Glenn and I exercise our personal demons by discussing things from the 80s. And if you decide to give us money, we do appreciate it. Thank you.
A couple things. First, it's probably tax deductible. Don't quote me on that. And secondly, this is probably our last episode. Like, that's how done I am with Michael.
That's okay. All right. Maybe we'll eat a hot dog together. Maybe we won't.
Nope. It's over. Hey, Bob, congratulations on being a part of the second Rocky episode, the one that finally ended the podcast.
Thank you.
So, Bob, it's been a joy. Michael, I fucking hate you.
I love you so much.
Stay awesome.
It hurts so bad. Stay awesome, everybody.
Stay awesome, Bob!
Okay.
All right.